Hey, Mike Kelly here. Want to make a quick video how to build route density going into the next season and how to dominate your local neighborhood. So it's a two-step approach. So what I've got here on the screen next to me, as I shrink this down, I'll show you what this looks like. We're going to go in and take a snapshot of all our existing accounts on the map here. So this is a snapshot of all the existing accounts in this account. And we need to go in and we want to build more route density. Now you can see in those big chunks of blue, we've already done this pretty well. Well, the first step you want to do, in my opinion, is in your market, if you can tell what has been commercially mowed, we want to go out and pay a lower level person or a college kid back on break to go through and literally get a pen and paper and write down the street name, and then sequentially down the piece of paper, write down all the numbers of the houses on that street that get commercially mowed. What we're going to do is going to create a qualified database of all the people in your service area, or at least the neighborhoods and the neighborhoods in between the areas you service with commercial mowing. On our company, Callahan's in upstate New York, we had a list of just over 10,000 people who had got commercially mowed in our service area. And you can see it definitely worked. So the first thing is going offline and creating a qualified database of all the addresses that are currently being commercially mowed. And then what we're going to do is pull up those addresses. So I'm going to pull up a test account to show you how we did this. But what we did is went into property measurements and service autopilot. But this can be done in any CRM. But this is the methodology. So we go in, hit satellite, zoom in, highlight the area. I'm not going to do it with complete accuracy here just for the time of the video. But the idea is each one of these homes, we're paying either somebody internally in our office that's slow over the winter months, or a college student to come in for pennies on the dollar to measure the areas. We're going to label it and color code it. So if they call back, we know the exact service area that we estimated. Now, if you're going in and doing bush and bed, or let's just say maybe you're adding your database for snow removal up in the north, we can go in and get the driveway for residential snow removal and then put that plow area. And we're going to also color code that and save it. So now every time we pull this lead up, we know, but the main thing here is we're going to go in and click 0 here on the pavement. We're going to go into custom fields and scroll down and grab turf square footage and save it. So now that's on that particular person's home. And then we'll go in and do the same thing for the plowing area. Now we have a square foot range for those properties. And what we can do is create a qualified mailing list to all the people in your service area, in the neighborhoods and the neighborhoods in between the places that you are already servicing. And what we would do is in the address line, put their address, but where their name would go, we put lawn mowing customer or plowing customer. And we'd also include a thing called a lead letter. And those were the 5 or 6 main reasons why we were different, and it overcome any sales price objections that the consumer had around that particular service. That allowed us to gain this type of route density. Then what we did, even if they didn't already have our services, we would dial in to specific neighborhoods that we were in. And as we jumped into the satellite view, in Service Autopilot, I'm sure there's other platforms to do this, but I want to show you the methodology here. We would grab the 12 houses around the existing property. So we would go in, let's just say, for instance, on this home here. And what we would do is left click on each one of those houses, and you can see the numbers. So we'd grab the 3 or 4 on each side, and then the ones directly across the street. Now, we're not sure if they have commercial property services or not, but now we've got a qualified database of all the homes around there that's either seen our trucks and trailers in there branded, hopefully with the logo, and we're doing a good job. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen now, we've got a qualified list of all the neighbors. Jonathan Potoshnik of the Lawn Care Millionaire calls these 9-arounds. I've kind of shifted this methodology to a online 12-around for building route density. Same methodology now. Once we build the list, we have an admin that's slow or a college kid come in, measure all these properties and sending specific marketing with property-specific prices again, and that's the key part. And mentioning in this marketing document that we are already servicing their neighbors, and you probably have seen our trucks, and now that we're there, we can give you probably the best price. The first time we did this, or actually the first year or two that we did this, believe it or not, we had a 2.5% sold return on all the mailers. Now, obviously, as time goes on, that list will lose its efficiency. But as we went out every year, we continued to build a database throughout the whole entire area. So as we went in, we had that database of people. And as you can see, it took several years, but we were able to dial in and dominate a lot of these neighborhoods with route density as well. So main 2 steps here to dominating your local neighborhoods and building route density is A, if you can still do it, if your market hopefully doesn't have snow on the ground yet, drive around, write down the addresses of every lawn being commercially mowed. If you're in a market that can do that, I know some of the southern states you can't, but if you can tell, make a database, bring it back to your CRM, your customer relationship management software, measure it, and send out property-specific prices. And in the address line, lawn mowing customer, bed and bush customer, whatever that is, and we can go in and build property-specific pricing and mail that out. The key is don't try to bite or eat the whole elephant at one time. Grab a specific area within your budget that you can spend, and you don't want to do this once, you don't want to do it twice, but you want to do it probably between 3 and 5 mailings, because the first 1 or 2 is going to be brand recognition. The 3rd and 5th is going to get them thinking. And we want to touch on the pain points of the particular service where most contractors fail. That's the second part. Now, once we've done this for a qualified database, we go back in and dial in around the pins of our existing clients and grab the 12 or so lawns or homes around there and send them property-specific marketing, saying that we're already in the neighborhood servicing your neighborhood and your neighbors. So comments, questions, drop below. Let me swing over here to the other screen and take a look to see if we have anybody live here on the video that has any questions. So it looks like we don't have any questions coming up right now on the live version, but if you have any questions watching the recorded version, feel free to drop them in. What I'm also going to be doing here is diving in and showing you how to send out your renewal letters with upsell. So I'll give you a sneak preview here while I got a few minutes. If you're using Service Autopilot, this is how you would do it. A lot of questions around this right now. So under marketing, we go into sales campaigns. We'd hit add a campaign on the upper right-hand side. I've already got one built, so I will save the step of typing this out, but we'd name it. We'd go in and select type in the description, the type of customer, lead, client, former lead, whatever that is. We can exclude do not market in the upper right-hand corner, but this is for hard mailing, so that doesn't really matter. CAM Spam Act, especially in Canada, applies to email marketing, but not offline marketing to my knowledge. Then we select a filter, whether it's a package on auto renew, a certain service. There's several different options here, but the example here is fertilization and weed control. All packages set to auto renew that equal to, I selected my 4 and 5 step fertilization package. Now this is obviously a test account here. So we've got 3 individuals that fell underneath that criteria. Next thing is we're going to do in scheduled jobs. So when you're going in live, you go say, based on an auto renew package, I'm going to select my 4 and 5 step fertilization package. Now we've got those. So we're going to go up and send a renewal letter to the people that have those set on auto renew. Next, we're going to go in and create an upsell. So I dragged in lawn overseeding and grub control. So if you have our 4 or 5 step fertilization weed control package, traditional, and don't have lawn overseeding or grub control, we are going to upsell that service. Now there's several options here. Default is a default price on the rate matrix. I suggest not using this. A production rate based estimating system based on square footage and minimum price with budget hours and cost before profit, labor and materials if it's applicable, is going to fall under rate matrix default rate. Default rate, flat rate is not the way to go in my opinion. This gives you the granularity. Other option here is, let's say it was annual flowers. Maybe we don't have a square footage range to quote that. We can go call for quote, and that will print that out on that upsell right there. Next thing, once we've dialed in our upsell service, we're going in and hit next. And we've got the document here. So there's several different documents here. The one I've got selected is the prepay format with E. So I'm going to view the preview. There's several areas we can customize. Instructions where it says pay and pre-sell, and in the footer here, right here. And you can add your logo and such in there. These are the 3 areas right here in the open areas. You can customize those areas with some source or HTML coding. You can embed your logo and do some pretty cool things. We can go in and pre-print credit card remittance. I would suggest not doing that. It's not PCI compliant, and you do not want credit card numbers stored on pieces of paper. If you're using Service Autopilot, we can go out and do a PCI compliant credit card form online once they do sign up and get that on file. That's the recommended. We can do a prepaid discount. Honestly, I don't recommend a prepaid discount for many of reasons, but when you do the math, there really isn't a benefit. It's costing you more. But if it's a cash flow thing, then obviously that may be applicable. We can address the company return address, client address, and print signature line. That's how we customize it. Jonathan Potoshnik of the Lawn Care Millionaire, if you look at his YouTube channel, has a great video on prepaid discounts, and he breaks down the math. And I completely agree with his take on that. When you do the math, prepays don't make sense with a discount. Prepay without a discount is great. We did that with our residential snow plowing. We had to have 100% prepayment before November 1st, payment by check or credit card, and a signed contract. No prepaid discount. There was such urgency and scarcity to that service that you had to get it and prepay it before the whole entire season started. Now, next thing we're doing is going in next after we customize those areas. And next thing is we generate. Before we generate, if you do want to do those prepaid discounts, you can do a prepaid discount on the scheduled job discount here and the upsell discount. And then you can add a tag. I do recommend adding a tag each season that you do this so you know who you've sent this to. So you put the date. So and we have different types of tags, and I consider a tag like this would be a profile because it's on their profile. So 04, which is the profile tag, this year's upsell letter was sent. Now we can search and filter down a minute to make sure we know who's got this and who hasn't, and maybe track a conversion ratio on that as well. Next thing we do is hit generate, and it populates these renewal and prepaid discounts. So once again, quick overview. We want to go in. If you're using Service Autopilot, we go to CRM clients. It pulls up all your clients. You get them on the map. You dial in. You grab the 12 houses around each one of your clients. Send them, measure them out, and send them property-specific, basically renewals that you can do this. Line item is current lawn mowing or neighbor of current lawn mowing customer, and then we drive our specific areas that we already service and the areas in between to build route density. And we write down the address of every single home that we can tell by the markings in the lawn that is being commercially mowed. We go back to the office, we measure them, put them against a pricing matrix, and send them property specific pricing, not once, but usually 3 to 5 mailings. So you got to limit that depending on your budget. And then in the address line, put lawn mowing customer or current, actually just lawn mowing customer is what we put in there. And you will see great results. And we included our lead letter, the 5 to 6 reasons why we're different. We addressed all the pain points of hiring a lawn care provider. And it was instrumental because we were immediately different, and it hit the pain points of the past contractor from the year before. And we showed them how we would be different right off the bat. So comments or questions, drop them below. But that is the way, in my opinion, to start out the new year. Going out, we want to renew our existing clients with some upsells. We want to go through our existing service area, write down all the addresses already being serviced by a commercial contractor, get the square footage, send them property-specific pricing with lawn mowing customer in the address line, and then we go into our existing CRM, such as Service Autopilot. We get all the pins of our existing customers, and we drop pins on the surrounding homes, get a qualified database of all the neighbors, measure them, and send them property-specific pricing, talking about how we're already in the neighborhood. Those 3 things, if you follow them, I will guarantee will make bottom line results in a good way for you next season. Comments, questions, drop them below.